Okay, hi everyone. So sorry, but YouTube decided to change things on me without letting me know, which is always grand. Thank you for letting me know the latency was off because that's something I don't necessarily catch every single time. So I'll be looking at my OBS system instead of the YouTube screen sometimes, making sure everything's set and ready to go. And yeah, so I had to shut down the previous stream that happened because, that's not a fun bitrate at all. So thank you again for letting me know that was the case. Redoing it, restarting it. I'll fix the description after the fact, but today I'm very excited because I don't know if you noticed, but the channel got to 9,800 yesterday. Very cool, very excited for that. And I figured instead of doing a whole big another announcement video, especially because I know I was going to stream today, I had every intention of painting this fellow. And this is a fellow that I got from WizKids, and I'm very excited to get him painted up. But he's going to become part of the giveaway package. So this dude, when I am done with him, he's going to be part of a lovely compilation of fantastic prizes for one lucky winner. So when the channel hits 10K, I'm going to start a giveaway going through Gleam, and someone's going to get some fantastic goodies, including this guy. Now, a little backstory on this guy. I have a beholder already, and this is a beholder that I did over at Origins. And this is something I painted up with Realmsmith, and I was asked what kind of a theme did I want to do for my beholder. And I said I wanted to do a tree frog. So this is what he came out, or this is how he got painted up basically. And I thought I'd take this idea, I'm kind of tweaking it a little bit and giving it my own flair. But it's going to be this type of color combination. So we're going to take this dude right here and give him a nice little nod to the tree frog I have in mind. And I do have a reference photo, so let me show you. No, you can't be tipsy yet, it's only noon. So here's the reference photo. This is the fellow I'm going to be using as my guide. This is what I had in mind when I said tree frog. So this is the color scheme I'm going to be using. So we have these nice bright greens and yellows and blues and oranges and reds. So that's what's going to be happening with this one. So yeah. That's the big announcement for the next item. We are going to be doing a WizKids beholder made to look like, well, not look like, but have the coloring of a tree frog. So let's get started with this guy. All of the paints being used today are from the Vallejo game line, just to make it easier for those who want to recreate this, because that was the other reason why I'm doing this. So many people wanted to know how this got done, and there's not video record of it. So I figured, okay, I will take the concept similar to this, again, do it in my own style, and then put it onto this guy, and then this guy gets to go to someone's home. Now, he will have with him the extra spell stalks, but those I'm going to paint separately just because they're so fiddly. I'll do that off screen. But for today, you're going to see me get him painted up. So yeah, here we go. And his base will have the classic black base that WizKids provides with their minis, and I will make sure this gets painted as well. But right now, this lovely snarling face is our focus. So what I'm going to do with him first, I'm actually going to work eyes and mouth out. So the first thing we're going to do is start with the eyes. Now, again, back to that reference, you can see he has these lovely red eyes. And I'm going to focus on that. And Jan is asking me about the wash. Yeah, I didn't do a wash. I did my typical primed in black Vallejo paint. And then I went back in with actually bone white from Vallejo. No, not bone white, dead white. And I did a dry brushing of that over the black primer because, again, I like how this brings out the details so you can see the miniatures details better ahead of time. So this is why I tend to do this with my minis to get things started. So we're going to work doing the eyes, and they'll go into the mouth, and of course all of these eyes. But I wanted to do more of the red eye instead of, because if you look here, this has a yellow eye. I want to do the red eye that the tree frog has because that's, one of those little things that they are known for. So the color I'm going to start with for the eye, I'm going to jump right into using Bloody Red, which will be fun. Hello, Achille, and hello to everyone else in the chat. Hello to you. Thank you so much for joining me. Very excited to see you guys. Boy, was last week a big live stream. That was a lot of fun. We had a good number of people in the chat to the point where I was having a hard time keeping up with your comments and stuff. So if you said something last week, I didn't address it, please feel free to ask again. And I will do my best to answer your questions or fill you in on information and all that loveliness. So I'm looking for a particular brush. Where is it? There we go. And I'm going to be using this brush that I have. It's one of Vallejo's brushes that they sent me. And this is what I'm going to start using. Well, hello, Jake. You were a busy man last week. Mr. Mini Terrain Domain himself is in the chat. And he did a wonderful thing last week for Jasper's Game Week. Feel free to brag all about how well you did with that. It was a series of games from Sunday afternoon through Thursday evening. Lots of great players, lots of great personalities, fantastic people in the chat, wonderful people donating and giving to the cause. So it was just wonderful to be a part of that. And Jake, my hat off to you, because holy wow, did you do a good job with all of that. So congratulations to Jake, and congratulations to everyone who worked so hard on Jasper's Game Week, as well as Fenway for doing such great work with Jasper's Game Week and Jasper's Game Day. So yeah, I just want to get that little nod into you. So yes, I'm taking the bloody red, which is slightly disturbing me now that I'm getting it onto the eye. But yes, so here we go with that. And I'm doing a very thin layer because I don't want this to be super, super dark and opaquing everything out. But I'm not thinning this on purpose because I don't want this to bleed through, especially when I get to the smaller eyes on the stalks. That would be tedious. So that's why I'm not thinning out the bloody red on the eye. I want to have a little bit more control, and by keeping it thicker, I can do so. It's just a matter of making sure you spread this around a little bit more. So you can see how you still get that, if I can get the glare off of it, you still get the shading that's happening, yoink, of the colors there. So that's what I'm doing for the eye on that side. There we go. Jake's giving us information in the chat. Loveliness. And then there's a little bit of the same that I want to go over here. For the iris, I am going to blend into a lighter reddish orange. And then the pupil I will make black. That's amazing. Raised $5,350. That's wonderful. That really is so fantastic to hear. Such a great cause. And such great people, really. It was truly an honor to be a part of it and get to interact with so many wonderful people. You know, next year, I'm your girl. Just letting you know, Jake. And I get to see you tomorrow. I did a really cool interview with Jeremy, one of the other players in the Dawnbringers for Forge of Fury. He and I did this great live stream last night talking about backstories. So if that's something you're interested in, get over to Erasmus Expeditions here on YouTube and check it out. And I'm going to try and mentally mark that as something to add to the description. Because, you know, there's so much more to add this time around. It's actually not that bad. It's just I didn't want to waste time getting the description prompted up. Well, you guys are all waiting for me to come back. Gotta love technology. I don't know why, but for some reason, the live stream setup has been the most tedious part of YouTube switching over to its new studio format. All right, so that's with the blood red on the, not the iris. What's this? What's the white part called? Why am I blanking on the white part? So basically the white's the eyes. I've made red instead. And true to form, the camera's showing me a little spot I need to get right there. Okay, so there we go. So now I'm going to move into this orangey tone for the iris, and then we'll do a very thin black covering on the pupil. Oh, that would be really cool. I like that idea, Jake. All right, so I'm going to jump over to using hot orange for the iris. Now, I won't be doing this on the little eyes. I'm just going to focus on doing the bloody red on the smaller eyes, and then just doing an iris on them and work with it that way. And again, I am not thinning this out entirely. If anything, I'm just letting a little bit of the water from my brush work its way into the paint, because I don't want this too thinned out and then bleeding everywhere. That's not the goal here, folks. So I'm going to go back in, and again, just a very thin coating here. I don't want it too thick because I don't want to blur out the highlighting that I've done. But if you notice what I'm doing, I'm letting this dance along the edge to let the colors work together a little bit. So get that on the other side, and a little bit in this case will go a very long way. So you can see I'm getting that done. Hello, Ravenwolf. You are not late. You are just on time. Really, whenever you can make it is always appreciated. Don't feel like you're late and you have to apologize because you've showed up however many minutes after the stream has started. Hello, hello. Oh, I'm seeing lots of wonderful people in the chat today. So good to see you, everyone. Really and truly. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm just going to let the brush dance a little bit on the edge. Get those two colors blurring together. So that's more the look I want for this eye. I also am going to omit the whole... Oh, and don't worry, that's going to get covered up. I'm also going to omit the whole that lens thing, it started off clear on this guy, and it's actually kind of gotten more and more opaque over time. I don't know why it's doing that. So I'm going to include what I have dubbed the cataract. I'm going to include it for the winter and leave it up to them if they want to put that in there. But personally, I kind of wish I had left it off. And of course I had done the glue thing. Shame on me. Okay, so that takes care of the big eyes iris, and now I just need to get the pupil, which I thought I had grabbed black, but I didn't. So just going to the basic black that's in the game line. Very straightforward, nothing too schmancy. I'm going to put that on there. Just a little dot on my plate. Let's see. Exactly, not late, just fashionable. I like that. Thank you, DM Insomnia. That's a good way of putting it. Just fashionable. As you can see, or there we go. As you can now see, I am getting just a thin layer of the black on there. I don't want it again to be completely opaque because I want that white to play up and play off as a sort of gleam to the eye instead. Sclera, maybe? That might be it, Todd. I am completely drawing a blank on that. I need to go back, and whenever I paint these, I need to look over things for anatomy. Like when I was painting the more insectoid type monsters, it's like the thorax and the this. So that is the eye for now. And now I'm going to go back in with the bloody red and get all of the eye stalks. Now, these eye stalks do come out because, you know, you get to put the spell ones in there. So I have these put in on purpose so I can paint them and the paint will seamlessly blend together. But the other ones, the spell ones, I will do separately, simply because it'll just be a little bit easier that way for me. All right, and then we're going to go back to the bloody red after doing black. There's your tongue twister for you today. A lot of people have been saying they have beholders that they haven't quite painted yet, which I find very interesting. Just jump in. And the fun thing about beholders is you can really make them your own. They don't all look alike, unless you're going for the dude on the cover of the book or you're trying to do Xanathar. Well, that's a different story. But I'm jabbering a lot. Let me go back to the eye. Ow, ow, ow. So back over bloody red. And I'm just being very careful at this point. Now the nice thing is I do plan on having the stalks blend up to warmer tones, so I'm not worried about getting, theoretically, now that I've said that, watch me jinx myself, theoretically about getting the blues or the greens up on the eyes themselves, which is why I'm doing these ahead of time. And again, I'm keeping the coat of paint thin, but I have not thinned my paint. I'm just letting that highlighting that I've done with the other paint that I do to prep everything in terms of the dry brushing show itself through, so we get some dimension already. And I've just found that to be such a time saver too, especially with all the minis I've been getting ready for Baby's Place, which there is a light at the end of that tunnel too. Woohoo! I have pictures to take soon. We shall see if I can get to that tomorrow or not. But I just got a whole bunch of minis completed. They're drying right now. And I'll show them to you. I will share them. I love the red. The red is so much, it's super creepy. It's so creepy. Yeah, this is going to be the fun part. Getting to all the lethal eyeballs. But yes, as I was saying before, because I sidetracked myself, which I do so well, get over to Jeremy's channel. He has this wonderful YouTube channel. Subscribe while you're there. Suggestion, you know, why not? He does crafting. He also does some game technique videos as well with these live streams, and he has these great interviews going. Help Action is what they're called, so please go and give that a look-see. Anyone paint in oils? I honestly know. You know what? Well, that didn't work, crew member. We're going to need a nickname for you. Honestly, terrain is a good way to get used to working with paints if you're not familiar with painting. I definitely encourage that. It'll help you hone your talents with how to work the paint, how to blend the paint, where to do your dry brushing and highlighting and everything like that. So keep going with that. Once you feel comfortable, jump into doing minis like this, because this is obviously a bigger dude. Working with your larger monster minis is also helpful because the details are bigger for you to work with, and you can still use the same concepts, just on a slightly larger scale. Yes, Erasmus Expeditions. Thank you, Jake, for putting that in there. And as I said before, I'll make sure that the description after will have a link to his channel, so we can make sure our buddy Jeremy gets some traffic. Because, you know, we love our family, and Jeremy is family. Beep. There we go. Always fun with the angles, making sure you can see and making sure, well, you know, I can see too. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back after this is done and figure out why YouTube keeps flipping back to a low latency. Or it's deactivating the chats on me. It did that to me last week, was deactivating the chat, which was kind of necessary for that whole cripple god thing. Don't know why it did that last week. So last week it didn't want me talking with people. This week it didn't want you to see what I was doing. Okay. Channel name, can't help it. Okay, well, good to know. I'm just going to call you, well, that didn't work. Heaven help me if I actually have to say that for some reason. You'll think I'm talking to you. You know, because things. But yes, let's see. Today, another reason why today is significant is because it is officially 1 month before I board a plane to fly over to England to be at Caverswell Castle with the Nerdarchy guys and Lisa Chen as one of the DMs. It's fine. Everything's fine. I am absolutely that meme. Painting the mini. I am absolutely that meme right now of the dog sitting in the fiery room. This is fine. Everything's fine. But that's because I'm such a, I default to go to organizing, and there's still stuff on my list I want done, and I'm going to be fine. I already know that. It's just, it's just, you know, there's still things I want to accomplish before that bag is zipped up and the lock is flipped. Oh, and I found some awesome boxes if you're going to be a traveling DM and you want to take your minis along for safety purposes. I went to Walmart's fishing section and I got these really good tackle boxes that fit so many of the minis that I'm bringing with me. I am super happy about that one. I will see if I can find a link to Walmart for that product. But holy moly, it's cut down the bulk of what I was using before to store all these minis in. So I'm absolutely planning on taking all of these guys, well, not this guy, but all of the minis that I've been getting ready for BBs in my carry-on bag. Because the terrain I know is going to be durable enough. It's the minis I don't want. I don't want other people touching them. Those are my minis. I took a long time to paint those minis. Let those minis be. Yeah, Lisa is awesome. She is fantastic. Looking forward to getting to spend some time with her and Dave and Ted and Doug. And actually, go to Nerdarchy's website. They have a comic strip that they've started based off of all of us, essentially. So I'm the maker. Surprise. Jan says, take an umbrella. Oh, trust me. I know that. I lived in London for a little bit. And I'm one of those weirdos who actually enjoy that misty rain. I love the way it makes the earth smell and everything like that. Yo, yeah. Okay, Jake, I will definitely get in touch with you about the tackle boxes. Am I going to be able to paint this and still show you? Answer is no. Give me a quick second here, people. Rather than struggle for 5 minutes trying to get the right angle. There we go. I think I've got all the eyes now. No, I did not. That's just the boulders. One more eye. I'm telling you, Frankie last week was a bit of a treat because he only had a few stalks left. The others had rotted off of his head. If you don't know what I mean by that one, I painted the Death Watcher for Cripple God Foundry. Their Kickstarter is still going on. It ends on the 25th, so you have 3 more days if you're interested or were debating about that after seeing the live stream last week. So if you were on the fence, you don't have much time to stay on the fence anymore. You got to make your decision, and soon. All right, so there we go. We have all of the eyes addressed. I'm going to go back in and do the iris at the very end, though. For now, I just wanted to get the basic colors on here. All right, now we're going to move into La Boca, into his mouth, which is not going to be starting off bloody red. I'm actually starting off with a different base color. And in this case, yes, I am going to start thinning the paint because there's a lot of area I want to cover. And I want those highlight, well, the first layer dry brush to show itself through as well. I'm going to jump over to my nice, I love this dude, my nice little flat head. Smaller, but it gets in all of those nooks and crannies at the same time. All right, Jake, thank you so much. I will talk with you later. Absolutely. Okay, and then give me just a quick second because I've got to okay a comment. I'm juggling. There you go, DM Insomnia. Alrighty, yes, DM Insomnia also has a channel here if you wanted to go over there and look at things. So what I'm using now is my Flow Improver from Vallejo, and I'm using Terracotta to start off the colors of inside the mouth. So Terracotta with a Flow Improver added to it, because again, I want these paints as thin as they can be so they do show these base layers as well and let the lights and darks play off of each other. You've been up too long, hence your name, DM Insomnia. I haven't been sleeping too well lately just because we've had like crazy thunderstorms, and then just, you know, the brain starts worrying and you start thinking, and then it's like, you know, fee fi fo fum, hi ho the dario, why does this farmer have a dell? Is literally how my brain works at night sometimes. All right, so I'm going to take this terracotta and I'm going to go all through the mouth, including the tongue with it. And there is actually, if you have these minis and you haven't painted yet, there's a little tooth that's hiding a little bit. So be careful when you're painting that you don't notch that guy up. It's also why the teeth are probably going to be the last thing to get color on them, because I have a feeling in painting things, we might have a slight hiccup here or there. But it happens because you've got so much working on, around the mouth and happening there. Hello, Andrew Wagner. Thank you for joining us. This is a cool thing. He actually has, will that show? Yes, it will show. He has taste buds. How cool is that little detail? Hello, Mia. Without being up with... Yeah. It's funny, when I play in games, especially later night games, I tend to go to bed a lot later. Just because my brain and the adrenaline of playing, it is the hamster in the proverbial wheel. All right, we're just going to put that eyeball over there. You know what? Let me do that right now. I'm just going to go through and pop out the stalks. Since I've gotten the eyeballs painted, this is always the fun part. Finding 1, 2, 3, is it 4? 4. I believe it's 4 of them that pop out. She says, right? Yeah, okay. I'm just popping out the ones right now so they don't keep falling on me. It'll make it a little bit easier to work around that way. I'm going to put them back in once I get to that zone though. So don't worry, I'm not painting them separately. I do want these on the mini while painting so that the connection is a little bit more seamless and not such an obvious break. But still going with this terracotta thinned out. I just like how this terracotta works. It's a good match for inside the mouth. I am going to go back and just kind of add a little more details. Waiting for pizza delivery. That sounds good. Oh God, those Google Hangouts, they went late some nights, didn't they? I think 3 a.m. was seen a few times. This is the one thing about this mini with its inside the mouth. There are some fun little angles to get in, which is why I like using this particular guy, because I can still cover, but I can also edge up to things a lot easier. Yeah, I'm usually up for about an hour and a half after a game ends. So the ones that go until like 11 o'clock at night, I'll probably get in bed like 12:31, maybe start falling asleep. And that's where I purposely just try to find the most mindless YouTube channel videos possible so I don't have to concentrate and it just turns into chatter. And I can just tune them out, and that usually helps me get back into dreamland when I need to. Alright, jumping that up into the top of the mouth, which it's kind of hard to show you because these lovely choppas he's got. Alright, so that's the terracotta inside the mouth. Let's see if I can just get a little bit further up over here and not paint the tooth terracotta. There we go. I like that a little bit more. And then I'm also going to put this onto the gum line. Alright, so now I'm putting this onto the gums, because you see he has these lovely... He's got a toothy grin, he does. And since this is thinned out, as you can see, a lot better with the gums than with the inside of the mouth. You can see that the white that's been on before, with its dry brushed self, that still comes through. So you pretty much get your highlights built into when you just glaze over things like this. It's definitely a time saver. And I've also found that I tend to go into a look of almost like watercolors and sketches for my minis. I like the less hyper-realistic look, I've discovered. But that makes sense considering the artist I absolutely am drawn to. So, there you go. And let's see who just joined. Hello, Crafters Forge. Thank you for joining in. Good to see you here today. It's always fun to see who can stop by for each stream. All right, there we go. The gum line with that thinned out terracotta. As you can see, you've got that white undertone that's now got more of a pinkish tone for reasons playing through. And I'm going to do the same thing on the lower jaw, but I got to turn him upside down. Yeah, this is a fun model. This is one where when I got it from WizKids, I was in such a area where I couldn't get to paint it yet. And then now that I'm kind of getting into an area where it's like, oh, I have some breathing room, I definitely wanted to get him painted up. And again, for those of you just joining us, this model, the one I'm painting right now, is going to be part of my 10K giveaway. So that when the channel hits 10,000, this is part of the package, which will be fun. And I can't wait to send it along to someone. If you hear a whirring noise in the background, I have the vent fan going in the basement because we're getting into that sort of warmer, muggier weather, but it's not hot enough to turn on the AC, and it is humid down here. Like uncomfortably so, but then it's also cold, so it's cold and damp. So I turn on the vent to kind of make it more amenable to my delicate nature. You know I kid. Just making sure I'm wrapping around that gum line there. Okay, and that gives us his grin going on here. I don't want to play around too much between the teeth. I am going to just dab a little bit since these are more spaced out. There we go. There we go. And I will say, trying to get the back of these near impossible. So that takes care of his mouth for now. And I want to make sure this all dries too, because also when you thin this out, keep in mind if you go back over it while it's still drying, you can pull the paint up and off again. So you want to be careful with that. But that definitely gets that gaping maw started for me, as I was hoping. Da-da-da! All right, now I am going to work on the body. I'm actually going to work from the point of base up. Almost sounds like a band. Ace of base, point of base. It's been wet and cold for days in Kansas. Oh, that's good. Hello, Celso. Or is it Celso? I want to say Celso, looking at the last name. Let me know. And yeah, they have a great one. Hello, Brandon. Well, it's afternoon for me. Oh, so many people with their beholders in the wings. Come on, people, get some color on them. Actually, I might have to do that. Once I finish this guy, I'll take his picture and then put up on my Facebook page. Let's see your minis too of the beholders. Okay, so now I am jumping over to... Wait, is this the color I wanted? Electric blue. Yes, this is the color I wanted. I'm going to go back to the reference photo. For those of you just jumping in, I'm doing this loveliness as my inspiration. So that's what is working for me in terms of getting my beholder going. So same thing as before, as you saw me do with the mouth. I am adding that flow improver to the electric blue. Electric boogaloo blue. Now that would have been a name. Electric Boogaloo Blue. I'm just going to blend these together. And what I'm hoping to accomplish with this is sort of let those colors bleed a little bit into one another for a gradient factor, because I'm working basically blues to greens to yellows to oranges to reds. And hello, Angela. Thank you for stopping in. Oh, Vietnam. Wow, very cool. I love seeing where everyone's from, especially when new people stop in. All right, so I'm going to take this electric blue and I'm going to try and find a good way to hold him at the same time. There we go. And I'm going to basically kind of work it. So I give myself sort of zones as to where I'm going to stop. So blue zone, green zone, yellow zone is going to be the crown of the head as it works its way up the stalks. And the stalks are going to blend from orange to the red eye is the plan. We shall see. That is the hope. All right, so basically I'm kind of using these guys right here as my gauge. And I'm just going to start taking this electric blue. And because it's been thinned out, just pull this down. And this is nicely thinned out, so as that dries, you'll see that the tones come back out. Let's see here. From Maine. Oh, fun. The dreaded green tree behold. That's good, Brandon. Very clever. I liked your phrasing on that one. Hey, you gotta watch out. You know, frogs can be poisonous and stuff, so if you got a beholder coming at you like this, you never know what little extras he might have, right? Just going to keep going around with this. And again, I'm using these 2 points as sort of my, all right, this is where we're going with things. Actually going to work up and around here. Nice thing about the flow improver is it helps you move the paint along as well. Now, when you're painting these, if you get any paint onto this stalk, you can very easily take it off simply by just nail polish remover with an acetone base, and it'll pull off any little bit of paint that you got on that you don't want on it. I am speaking from experience from the other one, because when I painted that one, it wasn't quite dry yet, and I went to move him, and I got a little fingerprint of paint on him, but the nail polish pulled it right off. I know, isn't that interesting? Like, how many people from different countries? Oh, France! Very cool! I'm loving it. I really do get a kick out of hearing. I don't know if we've had someone from Vietnam yet. I think that's a newer country for the viewership, which I think is fantastic. Love knowing more people are jumping in and joining us. And I really do enjoy doing these live streams simply because of the fact that it gives me a chance to connect with everyone who's jumping into the chat and everything. How long have I been painting models? Probably models themselves for 2 years, but I've been painting for a very, very long time of various styles of painting. So paintbrush in hand is not new to me. Working on D&D miniatures, at least a couple years, if not a little bit more than that. I gotta start marking that on a calendar or something. Painting anniversary for your first mini. And I'm still going around with this electric blue. Almost said boogaloo blue again. And this is why I said I'm using these, because they actually have friends on either side. So that's why I'm using those as my zone marker. And pull it around down here. The thing I like is about these bone plates, they almost look like a goatee. The editing videos comes the more you do it, the more second nature it becomes for you. I will definitely say that. All right, I'm just going to double back a little bit. I want to get this row addressed right there. I do want to get that. And the other thing you can see I'm doing is I'm actually, when it comes time to when I know I'm going to shift colors, I am sort of staggering the scales so that when I jump over to the next, the greenish tone I'm going to work with. Oh, that's right. I have 2 greens. That's where it's going. Okay. I have 2 greens that we're going to be pulling in. I'm going to do a little bit of blending. It's not going to be so it's a complete bleed through because I don't want the colors to get muddied, but there's going to be a little bit of feathering the colors into each other there. I do want to get that guy and that guy. Did I go above on that side? I did. So then this side I am going to go back in and do a little bit just on these 2. That's better. There we go. It's pulling together. Like everyone's talking about editing in the chat. I have just one thing to add to my craft video for this week, and then I can get the sucker rendered and uploaded. All right, so this is where I'm going to stop with the electric blue. And we're going to move to the next level. And again, I'm going to use these 2 right here, da-dump and da-dump, as my guidepost for this next graduation in color. Then we'll move on to a brighter green, brighter yellow green, and then up to the yellow for the crown. And then we'll do the stalks. Bye. Thank you so much for jumping in. It was good to see you, Etheria. Really, always fun. Always good. Streaming and painting minis be helpful in keeping yourself motivated to complete the minis. For me personally, no, because once I get the minis going, I get them finished up. But if I can see it being a good reason for others, if they're trying to stay on top of their minis, yeah, streaming it would definitely be good because then you have people who want to see the follow-up and stuff. By all means, Brandon, that was a good question. Good inquiry. All right, so now I'm shifting up and over to foul green, which, come on, it's a beholder. That just sounded too perfect. But the reason why I'm going with foul green is because it has that bluish undertone. You're going to see how my brain works right now. So it has the bluish undertone of the electric blue, which means I also have the green that I can then phase into the Escorpena green as my next tier. So that's why I'm jumping into foul green. And again, going to thin. Yeah, WizKids is definitely upping their game, and I've been painting a lot of their minis lately because they sent me some really cool things for BBs. And what was I painting the other day? I've been painting so that's the problem. I've been painting so much lately. I'm blanking on. I think it was their tavern. Yeah, it's their tavern one. Some of the details in that tavern are incredible. Where's the box? I had the box somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Camera shake, watch out. So it's the empty box, but the Rusty Dragon bar, that's what it was. I'm working on the Rusty Dragon bar, and oh my God, some of the details in those sculpts, they're nice. They're very nice. That's another one I will show once it's all set up and ready to go. Okay, so switching over from electric blue, boogaloo blue, not really, over to foul green. And again, I'm going to use this, hold on. Yeah, this one as my point of reference for how high I want to take this up. So I'm going to start blending that from the open area where I haven't done a color yet down into the blue. And I'm going to let, for these scales that I already have going, I'm going to let just a little bit get onto the top portion. So it's a very subtle pulling together of those two colors. Ooh, hold on. Let me work in between right there. So you let the paint play a little bit down. And that's really all you need to do for how I'm approaching it. If you want to do more of a blending thing, by all means. You're chatty today. All right, hold on. Hello, Carrie. New sub. Ooh. Yep. That's exactly what I did. I always tend to go, sometimes I will do my airbrush and spray on primer. I tend to hand paint. It's my preference. I like painting by hand. But you can, yes, you can actually prime and spray it on if you want to. I just prefer going in by hand to get that addressed. Is that a scale or is that a... That is a protrusion, not a scale. That's the fun part of this game. Is that a scale or is that going to be something that's getting a completely different color? So here we go with the colors working their way together. Ooh, my goodness. Da, 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 da. Yeah, it's a really nice set, Raptor Jesus. I have not seen the Mad Scientist set yet, so I can't... Hollister's Lab. I'll have to look at that one. Haven't seen it yet. You have to understand, I have not been on social media or checking out websites a lot lately because of prepping for things that are looming. I am looking... All right, there's a couple little bits I want to get up here. Again, with this foul green. Which I have to say, it's not that foul of a green. It's kind of a dare I say, pretty green. It's like that seafoamish green. But I do like the coloration it's providing here. And again, as I get down lower, I'm just going to give a little bit of the top of the scales. Put a little bit of the green on top of it, so you get the colors blending a little bit. I don't want to drag the colors, because if you do that too much, the paints just start to murk up and you lose your definition, and it's not my deal. Not what I want to see. No one ever says my name. Well, guess what? I try and say names as much as I can. So guess what, Raptor Jesus? Your name's been said again. Yeah, it's that seafoam green is a pastel green. But it is more of a pastel tone. Like, you know, could be like an Easter egg green, even. Which we've talked about that before, how different paint companies lock onto different things for their names. Who is it? It is Apple Barrel. They have all the food names, even though, yes, it is plaid again. But their Apple Barrel lines, they have those foods. Hello! Is it Stefan or Stephanie? Please let me know, because that's a different spelling I'm not familiar with, and I want to be sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. But welcome from Montreal. Ooh, we're getting lots of people from lots of areas. So cool! All right, make sure I go back in and get up to the height I need this to be. Chatting and blending. Pay attention, V. Definitely going to get this big guy with the foul green right there. How are we doing on time? Almost one. We had a later start, so this is going to go a little bit later than normal. Again, thank you, YouTube, for resetting things on me, because that's always fun. But we had a latency issue where YouTube switched it to lowest latency option, which I don't do. That's not my deal. There you go. All right, cool. You found it then. Again, just dancing a little bit over these three right here, since they're coming close to that green line. And I'm using this protrusion. So right now I'm backtracking to about... All right, so I do want this to get covered through here. I think I'll do a little bit of that there. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. I gotta think on that section. You'll probably be able to see what I'm doing a lot better right there. I'm actually tucking this green up a little bit too when I come to the blues. Just a little bit. You can see how it starts pulling the color from one to the other. And we're back around to the mouth, which I want to look and frame a reference here. I want to make sure we have a nice balance going on here. There we go. And when you do this part, just make sure your brush doesn't have a lot of that green on it. Otherwise you will basically blur out your blue. And you don't want to do that. I do want to just turn this a little bit, because you'll see inside the mouth there's a little bit more of that detail that I want to get. right through here. Definitely when it comes time to painting these guys, turn them a lot, because there's little parts you might be missing and not even realize it. Like, you know, earlier I had one more eye stalk left with the eyeball. Don't pronounce the E. Okay, so Stefan. Thank you very much. I appreciate your clarifying that for me. And let me just do a quick check through. Not quick check the store, quick check of the mini. You know what, I think I do want to get this zone. I was debating this, but I'm gonna put a little bit on that. Now that I'm spinning it around. You spin me right round, baby, right round. Now that's a song you can have stuck in your head. Mm-hmm. All right, so that takes me with the foul green. I'm just gonna go back in quickly. I do want to get a little bit more blended through there. I'm just going back over and adding a little bit more of the foul green. Not too terribly much, but enough to start getting the colors to play with each other. All right, let me put that down and rinse my brush, and I'll move over to the next one. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Gutter crawl beholders are your favorite D&D monsters. Very cool. Awesome. You can never have too many beholders, right? Never, ever. Please no earworms. Too late. I have modified a few minis with green stuff and other such tricks. And I do like to switch things up a little bit. And of course it's upstairs, 2 floors above us. Otherwise I would show you I took a Penguin HeroClix mini. The Penguin, I should say, not a Penguin. The Penguin. I took one of their HeroClix style versions of him. And I changed him out, so he's no longer the Penguin. He's actually a dwarf with a beard, and he has sacks of grain around his feet instead of his penguins. That was a lot of fun to do. Okay, so now that I have the foul green on, I am, as I showed you before, I'm going to graduate up to the Escorpena green, which is my next jump up. And again, the eye stalks that I've taken out, those are going to go back in a little bit. Yeah, you'll see what's going to happen with it, Jan. It's not going to look exactly like the guy that I showed you that I painted in the past. I wanted to play a little bit off that concept, but it's also going to be different. Same thing, adding some flow, improver, mixing it up. Which is what you're hearing right now, that scratchy sound. That's why I like these brushes, because you get these little chisel tips, and it's so much easier for mixing things. Basically what I'm doing, Jan, is I'm taking my cools to my warm tones. And right now this color is critical because it's going to pull the cools up into warms when I jump into the Escorpena green. All right, so I'm going to use this. Almost looks like little horns at this point. I'm going to use this set as my gauge for the next color and where I'm going to put that color. And now we're getting into that awesome lime green color that you see. So same thing as before, I'm getting this onto where the scales are. I am avoiding the bony protrusions, and I am going to pull this down a little bit once I know the brush isn't highly loaded, so I can get those colors to play together, but not get too mulled and mucked up. So that's how I'm blending these. It's not a full, true, entire wet blend because this has already had a chance to dry. It's just feathering the other color on top. But when you have thinner paints like this, that really does help the process. Get a little bit around the eyeball here. Just to remind myself, I want that taken care of, but I am going to switch my brush when I go across the lid area. So heads up on that one. And then I can already tell I'm going to be switching, when I switch to the next color, I'm going to be putting those posts for the eye stalks back in. But this green has more of those yellow undertones, which shifts it to a warmer green as opposed to a cooler green. And this isn't like an opinion thing. It's the undertones that I'm talking about for those of you who may not be familiar with such phrasing. When I say warmer, I mean colors that are like reds, oranges, and yellows. When I say cools, I mean some blue or some greens, blues, purples. Those tend to be more in the cooler tones. I am going to dance just a little bit underneath here. Not going too crazy, but just enough. Again, because I want those colors to sort of marry a little bit right there, which I'm doing underneath the protrusions. Well, let's see. Got to catch up here. Portsmouth. No, I am not doing full coverage here because what I'm doing is I'm letting what I've done here play through. And that shows up a lot better in photographs than on the webcam, Brandon, because it pretty much acts as a highlighter. I will do a wash on him, which is going to be fun because of the two different tones that I'm going to play with. But I'm not going to go back in and necessarily need to highlight because of how this is drawing. A wash is going to be just enough to help kind of further the depth and details. But I don't need to go back in and do the highlighting because right now I have the white playing through with the thinned out paint as it dries. Which is why I like doing it, because it sort of cuts down on the whole going back and then having to do these individually, blending in with different colors. Definitely want to get those guys. Getting the back here, again, the Escorpena green. Yeah, that's some of the skin, that's not just the protrusion right there. And then taking some of that green, and on this scale I'm definitely feathering a little bit on there. There we go. Yeah, it definitely helps save time, and it's something I started doing more. Oh wait, that's a protrusion. That's fixable. It's something I started doing more now that I have a list of minis that need to get done with a time crunch on them. But it's easier if I can get this there. You can kind of see how it's working right there. There you go. Problem is I need a light overhead as well to see, but I also need a light facing forward so you can see my face. Otherwise, trying to get the camera set is fun. Please note sarcasm. All right, I need to pop in. These do have little codes to them, like there's different shapes to each. So right now I'm looking for the one that matches there. Is it this guy? Yeah, it's this guy, I believe. All right, I'm popping this guy back in right now because I want to get a little bit of this green on him. So I'm putting just a little bit at the base of the stalk. Nothing too crazy, but enough. Feather that a little bit. And then I gotta work my way back around. Let's see here. There we go. Like there was a spot I wanted to hit over here. Through there. And there. And a little bit of feathering right through here. Again, definitely just make sure when you are painting this guy, oops, out of frame. When you are painting this guy for the first time, remember, nooks and crannies. I'm running 920 and then a 615. The 615 is on me. The 920 is on the mini itself. Because if I do two 920s, YouTube gets a little bit, or not YouTube, OBS gets a little bit interesting in terms of letting me do settings on each of the cameras. Because it only recognizes that there's one 920 set in there and then things just get crazy. So I've just found it's far easier to do the 615 combination with a 920 on this guy. Better resolution on the minis, always. Always, always, though. However, YouTube's been having fun, so I don't know quite how the resolution is translating. Because they decided to play around on me. Alright, I'm going to work this. I went to this side just to help me with figuring out where I need to go over to here. Sort of fill in the blanks in that section. But yeah, my 920 is my workhorse camera for sure. I use one for streaming All right, now the brush doesn't have too much on it. That's why I just jumped over, because the brush at that moment had too much of the green on it before I blended the two together. So I use a 920 for when I'm streaming in games, and I use the 920. I have two of them. Down here on the minis for the streams, and my 615 is just, you know, for when it's, don't need to worry too much about it. All right, glad it's looking okay. And working around. And I am going to do a little bit of playing on this stalk as well. Just because of where these colors are falling. Do a little bit more blending through here. Okay, and that gets that next round. I am just going to do a quick spin around and see if there's any other places where I can quickly... I do want to get some blending right there. Take a little bit on the brush because that's getting dry. Tuck a little bit of green into here. That's better. Always rotate your beholders. And now I just need to get through here, but I do want to switch brushes on that one. Simply because I don't want to encroach too far into the eyeball. Which brush am I going to use? I'm going to use this one. Yeah, I'm running a laptop right now. I have 3 ports to work with, so I have to be careful. And honestly, my laptop can only do so much too. It's a lot better than the old one, that is for sure, because that was basically a glorified tablet. But with all the traveling and stuff I do, I needed a laptop for portability. All right, so I'm going to take this into the eyeball zone. Just very carefully go over. Trying to avoid the gum line as well as to avoid the iris. I'm being very careful right through there. Also, there's a little bit that I need to get there that I'm going to address right now. Yeah, desktop is not in the cards for me right now because I don't have a dedicated room essentially for streaming and for studio work. So when I go to play games, I basically have myself set up at my dining room table with the green screen behind me. Who knows, maybe one day I can get something set up, but for now, laptop it is. Because there's no way there's going to be a computer sitting on my dining room table at Thanksgiving. How sad. Almost done with this green. It's a fun green. It's nice and vibrant. And like all the other paints, it was thinned out so that that white, when this dries, it plays through more. There are a lot of raised details on these as well. So you may find, oh, I finished painting, but then when you turn it around a little bit, you'll see there's areas you need to go back in and just touch up a little bit because there's sort of a ridge that you didn't reach, which is what I'm doing right now with these. There we go. We're getting there. I'm also looking into his eyeball. Do a little bit through here. All right, so that starts getting almost everywhere. I just have a little bit more to get right back in here. And then we'll move over to the next color, and I will be putting the eye stalks back in at this point. Okay, there we go. So you can see how it's sort of doing the fade just by putting the color a little bit over itself. And then we're going to move to the crown. Okay, here we go again with the, I'm laughing right now. The contrast from Citadel. I have a lot of paints in my possession, so right now I don't really need more paints. If they get sent to me, I would be more than happy to do a review on them, check them out, see how they work. I have no intention of purchasing them and trying it out myself because there's no desire on my end to purchase them just to try them out. If it were something where I was running out of paints and that type of thing, yeah, maybe I'd be more inclined to try them out. But I use all sorts of paints. I use all types of paints. So for me, it's kind of like, don't really need them. So I'm not gonna, I'd rather put money towards things like, you know, investing in other cameras or microphones and things like that. So that's why I won't be doing a contrast review unless I am sent them. Is pretty much the nutshell. All right, now I'm going to plug these guys back in. And they do have numbers on them, but sometimes it's really hard to see. Like this has a 2 on it. There is a number 2. Also, don't paint this part. You will kick yourself if you paint that part. You will kick yourself if you paint in here, because trying to get the things in and out, not so much. Hey, Mega Moo. It's going well. Yes, Mace is in the long-term future. Mace is out there for me right now. I have other happenings coming up sooner with the castle, and then also with Gen Con, because I will be at Gen Con too. Well, as well, not the number 2. But Mace, it's looking like you guys are going to get all of your Tabletop Crafters Guild Masters at, is that the right one? Yes, at Mace. So if that's something you're thinking about, check out Just Us Productions. You can find them on Facebook. They also have a webpage themselves. So get that looked at. And yeah, you could have a chance to meet all of your guild masters in one spot at one time for one weekend only. Well, supplies last. I had to. Oh, you guys are talking shop about computers and such. Cool. Okay, so that is it for the Escorpena. And now I'm going to jump over to Sun Yellow, which it's sunny. I just want to be a little bit warmer. So I'm going to take the Sun Yellow and I'm going to put it on the crown here. And I'm also going to have it dance up the stalks just a little bit, which is why all the stalks just went back in. So I'm rotating my plate, and this is where I'm now moving into my warm tones. I'm going to need a bit more than that. There we go. A healthy dot. A healthy top. Da, da, da. Again, add the flow improver from Vallejo as well, because I'm not looking for full opacity. And I repeat myself a lot in stream, people, so that the newcomers have an idea of what I'm doing. Arm wrestling contest for our jackets then. For the jackets then? What do you mean by that? I missed something. Something just flew blatantly over my head and I'm sitting here going, what? Oh, rinse your brush. Make sure to rinse the brush. I didn't rinse it enough. All right, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to first address the scales and then blend down and blend up a little bit is how it's going to work with this one. So where do you buy a good paint set that won't break the bank? As I said before, I use all sorts of paints. Quite frankly, I will tell people who are just getting into crafting and miniature painting, you can use those craft paints. It's just a matter of don't go ham with your paints and glub them on. You can even thin them out with these flow improvers. I do it all the time. So my recommendation would be, if you want to try painting minis first and see if it's something you even want to get into, because it is a commitment. This is a hobby with a commitment behind it. So if it's something where you want to see if it's appealing or something you would like to do, start off getting your craft paints like Apple Barrel, Craft Smart, things like that. And you can even just get some of the cheaper minis from Reapers and WizKids and use them as your starting point. Once you know you are in and you definitely want to keep up with it, then really jump into whatever paint you like to use. Start off by buying a few pots of one or the other, this, that, the other thing. I don't have favorites, quite frankly. I will use the colors I really like from various sources. I have blended together Vallejo and Apple Barrel and Craft Smart all into one mini simply because one had the color that I wanted and the other didn't. I'm actually going to go in with a smaller brush for around this eyeball area. I don't want this to hop and then we get into the red. So that's my recommendation. Start off with the craft paints, give it a try first. Others may have different suggestions for you, which again, everyone has their own personal preference when it comes to painting. My personal experience and my personal recommendation is play around with craft paints first to be sure you like painting miniatures, because you could very easily spend a lot of money on more expensive paints and realize, you know what, it's not as fun or intriguing or as entertaining or enjoyable as I had hoped. And, you know, you don't want to drop a whole bunch of coin on an oopsie-daisy. And speaking of oopsie-daisies, out of frame. Yeah, you can like, there are bulk deals you can get from pretty much any model paint people too. But that's where I would go first, is craft paints. And then take it from there. Let me drop my hand a little bit. I think that's the problem. My hand's a little high right now. So really focusing mostly on the scales right now. I am going to go back into the stalks and everything. And let me do a little bit of blending right there. Bring those colors in. Flip them up. All right, we're getting color on this dude. Now what I may do, because we're cresting closer to 130, I can go until about 145 today. I know others have places to go and, you know, things to get done, which is totally okay. What I might do is, we'll see. If I can get the body finished, I can always do the other detail work next week, is what we might end up doing here. Just because I know people have to get back to a silly thing called life. All right, so right now I am going back in and blending the sun yellow down into the Escorpena green, but also pulling it up a little bit onto the stalks of the eyes. Thanks for jumping in, Yun. I will speak to you later on. And have a great day. Until then. Keep it in frame. Did I shift or something? There we go. Game. Yeah, I read between the lines on that one. Don't worry. All right. You can see right there, especially with the yellow, how you get the two colors playing off of each other now. All right, so now I'm going to go back up to the stalks and work on blending a little bit of this sun yellow up them. Up the stalks. But this is why I put the eye stalks back in. So I could do this part. It's a lot easier to do it when they're in place. For sure. And the spell ones, I'll do a similar thing. I'll pop off the previous ones, the ones that I'm hitting right now, and I'll put the spell ones in to be able to go back in and give them a similar look. But that's also why I'm intentionally making sure that the one color is working its way both onto head and up. Well, hello, Elven Song Pretty Music. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. And good to have you join us here in the chat. And for those of you who are lurking, don't feel like you have to jump in and say hi if that's not your thing. I get it. You don't have to. But your presence is always appreciated, even if you're just watching. I know some people like to lurk and get uncomfortable with the idea of having to say hello. You don't have to. Only if you want to. Not everyone is a chatty Cathy. Like yours truly. Hee hee hee. Again, I'm not pulling this up all the way because there is another color that's coming into play here. The fun part is making sure I'm getting all the eye stalks again. Uh-oh. We had a hopscotch. That's actually going to be okay because of the color that's going to go on there. Bringing that around, this one. I'm looking and I'm looking. I'm going to do a little bit more blending too, I think, with the yellow and green. But you can especially see it now that I'm getting to the stalks, because those have very deep grooves in them, how the yellow is getting on there, but you're getting that nice demarcation of details. Hence my love for thinning the paints out in this case. It really does the trick. And when you have a mini with this many details, it's nice to not have to go back and highlight and dry brush every last detail again. All right, I'm going to put a little bit of yellow through here. And like so. Some people hang out hoping to hear the funny accents. Well, yeah, I've been known to switch in voices. It's what I do. It's my thing. I mean, if you're going to talk to yourself, you might as well have fun with it, right? I kid. Sort of. All right, going back here with this eye stalk where I did have... Ooh, that's a wobbler. Some of them will be a little bit wobbly. If it does wobble, just put your thumb against to help give some pressure so that it's not wiggling all over the place. It's kind of like, you know, a loose tooth. You don't want it to pop out on you while you're painting, because that can be frustrating. Awkward angle. And I just want to go back in here. Yep, that needs a little bit more. And there we go. I'm going to do a little bit more blending through here. And again, only do this when your brush isn't too highly loaded up with that color you want to put on top of the other. Otherwise, you're going to have that fun back and forth syndrome that starts to happen. Oop, too much there, go back. Oop, too much there, go back. Back and forth and back and forth and no! It can be a wee bit frustrating. Just a touch. Have a D20 roll day. Bye, have fun. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, yep, so I'm good with that. Now we're going to move up to the color for the stalks as we work our way to the eyes. I see you. But again, this will be a fun one to be able to pass on to someone else. So we're going to take it to Orange Fire. Doodly-doo. That's my next color. Which, if it would come out without squirting everywhere, would be lovely. Okay, good. I can get messy when that happens. It's always fun when you go to squeeze something out and blurp. There it all goes. Thinning it out with the flow improver. Do-do-do-do. Okay, that's mixed up. And back to putting this onto the stalks. So I'm taking Orange Fire and I'm going back to the eye stalks now. And in this case, I am going to jump down a little bit because I'm going to have another color that's working its way up to the iris. So this is my mid-tone color. So I do want this to blend between the two of them. And then work it from there. What's your favorite to do when voicing any NPC? I like all the different accents and voices. That's the problem. That's honestly why I love when I'm DMing BB's place, because I get to, oops, pull it back into frame. I get to do all the different voices. I definitely have fun. I have my half-orc bouncer, Sebastian. Sebastian's got this very tough guy, you know, Brooklyn-esque means of speaking, but he also likes to sound like an intellectual. So he's a fun one to do. That's definitely a voice I like to do. I have fun doing Cantriel's voice. She's a fun one to play, for sure. She's my bard that I play over on Mini Terrain Domain Thursday nights. It's a very clipped, sort of a permutation Scottish-Irish blend. I'll do that sometimes. Like I kind of put a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B for different accents, just to give them some flavor. So that's another voice I like doing. I really like doing all of them, just because it's fun to do different voices and play around with things. So I'm still keeping this fire orange. For some reason it's not showing up as well on the monitor. The color is definitely a little bit more drastic in real life than it, not drastic, but noticeable in real life than it is right now. But when I take pictures of our fellow and show them off, you'll see where I was going with it a little bit better. That tends to happen sometimes. Some of the colors, they just get a little funky with the monitors and the webcam picking up the nuances too. But basically, you're kind of working this in the middle third of your eye stalks for those of you who are going to try and create this look. Yeah, he's kind of got that rainbow-esque look, but again, I'm going to flip back to my reference pic. But again, if you look at the tree frog, he's a colorful fellow, and I love it. Yeah, definitely gutter crawl. Give it a try. It's something I've enjoyed doing, and it's something I sort of stumbled into because I went back to an art technique of playing around with chiaroscuro. And I'm like, you know what would happen if I... And then I did it. I'm like, I really like it when I did this, so I'm going to go back to doing that again. Which is how I stumbled into doing this little trick of sort of taking away the having to go back and highlight everything too. Especially if you're on a time crunch. Like say you have a campaign going and you know you need a mini for the next day. Just using this, you'll chances are have a better success of getting a really cool mini onto the table faster for your next game. And it does take me longer to paint when I'm chatting. Go figure. Probably would have been done with him by now if I were just really focused and not stopping and pausing and explaining and such and so forth. Oh, back to the wiggly stalk. Back to wiggly stalk. Is there a stalk fairy? Think about it. If they lose their eye stalks, is there a stalk fairy? Do they grow back? Questions. I'm trying to remember. Has that been addressed? Do their eye stalks grow back? I think they're gone for good. Are they like starfish? This is where my brain's going right now. Are they like starfish when the limb pops up? Does it grow back after a while? All right, we're getting there. Almost there, folks. Almost there. Huzzah! Is this the last one? Yes, this is... I think it's the last one. Yeah, this is going to be the last one right here. That needs to get some of this orange fire on it. And then we're going to jump back to one you've seen before, that orange that I used in the iris. And that'll get our dude covered up. There we go. Move it along. Move it along. Again, don't forget to do your rotation, especially with your beholders, because you may turn it and realize, oh, I forgot that spot. Is that a forgotten spot or is that just a shadow? That's a shadow. Okay. All right, so he's looking good. I'm going to go to that last color. So I'm jumping back. I'm jumping back to hot orange. Let's see. Oh, we're discussing the... Oh, that's cool, Brandon. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to query, do eye stalks of beholders grow back after getting chopped off? Because that'll be a fun Google search. I swear to God, I'm on a list somewhere. I'm on a list somewhere just because of like wanting to know how things work sometimes. For games. What is the range of this? And knock, knock, knock. Ma'am, we have some questions for you. I'm just running a D&D game, officer. I'm not doing anything suspicious. Alright, so this hot orange is going to be the last one that I'm putting onto him for the stalks. Oh, I do want to go back and get this right here. That's a part I forgot. Now that I'm looking. Okay, so the hot orange. I'm going to... very carefully just butt this up. But this is the wobbly one, which is tricky now because I can't put pressure where I have been putting pressure. Oh, there we go. That's the problem I'm trying to see and keep in frame. Gets a little interesting. All right, so that got that first stalk. It's actually hard to see because that one's one of the smaller ones. So I'm going to start working on this guy. Actually, might have to dip into the right orange. Derpity. Hold, please. Still in frame, still in frame. Concentrating. Concentrating. I'm going to get a little bit more quiet while I'm concentrating here. Just very carefully get over that eyeball. And this is a little bit too much paint on it. Hold on. There we go. Blend one into the other. Alright, so that gives you a better sense of one of the eye stalks. And there that goes. Okay, you know what? That guy's done. We're going to pop him out so he doesn't fall into something. So that's one of the eye stalks completed. Turn that. Moving along. Oh, yes, I remember this one. This one was fun because the horn, not the horn, the protrusion. Is it a horn? What is it? Protrusion, probably. It kind of gets in the way. I remember you. Fond memories. But yeah, this is how I wanted to attack this guy this go around. Again, going back to that tree frog color reference, because I do love those colors. But I kind of wanted to play with how the colors were pulled together more. Especially with the blending factor. Because that's always fun to be able to play around with too. And there's another one. Ta-da! Moving along, moving along. Move it along. Nothing to see here. Move it along. Oh, gotta get under there too, and we'll do a little bit of blend here. That's why I pulled the lighter orange up a little bit more, because I knew I'd be blending in the fire orange, or the hot orange. I should say this is hot orange. Get that little lip over there. As you can see, this is pulling together. Hooray! And it's almost 1:30. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to finish up his stalks. And then next week what we'll she can speak pretty someday. Next week what I'll do is I will work on the protrusions and the teeth. And then do the wash. And we'll take it from there. And you guys can see how he gets finished up. It's just right now we're cresting into that time where I know people need to get going. So he's almost done with his basic colors. And there's more to do with him that I don't want to rush through. So we'll keep finishing him up next week. And who knows, maybe by next week the channel will be at 10K. Wouldn't that be fun? We shall see. We shall see how it goes. Just want to carefully, hold on. I gotta go way out of frame for this one, because this one's tweet. There we go. That's better. There's that eye. Now we'll get this guy up the top here. Ta-da! The ones that are bigger are so much easier to paint, or that are just sticking straight up. A lot of less awkward angles to have to hit. I do remember that from painting it last time. It's like, ooh, that's a nook and cranny to reach. You get a little bit over there. This is why it's important to hold them at different angles, because you realize there's parts you're missing. Do you want to work a little bit more here? Close. We're getting closer and closer. He's a happy little tree frog. Or is he? Is the question. He may look bright and cheerful. Hello, Nicholas. Oh, glad you like it. I'll hold the two side by side before I sign off for today. But I'll show you where this whole concept got started and why I am tweaking it a little bit. Yeah, because I also want to do stuff with the eyes too. So we'll definitely, he's going to have a part 2. This guy is definitely getting a part 2 stream next week. I'm going to be doing, so it looks like bones really. Start off doing earth and then I am going to do a little bit of dry brushing on those because they do need a little lifting. So it'll be earth and then khaki or no, bone white. Bone white. For that, and the teeth are going to be khaki with bone white is the plan for those guys later. Ooh, no. That's not that bad, actually. Hold on, let me get around here. Almost there. And I do know wash-wise, this is going to be the, what's it called? From Citadel. It's yellow. Whatever that yellow one was. Which is out of my reach and I can't see it right now. But I have the washes already plotted out as to what I'm going to do with them too. All right, 2 left. Saying the word 2, and I have 2 left. Ha-ha! Another little tiny guy over here. I have a wash that's going to add in some dark blue element. I do factor in what the washes do when I'm picking out colors. Otherwise, I don't want to what I don't want to do is have this get so dark that it gets super muted. Which is why I'm going for a lighter blue. Because once that wash goes on, it is going to bring it down a level or 2. And this should be the last of it for getting the stalks. A little careful blending right here. Okay, I believe we got it. Except for the one I took out because it kept wobbling out of its socket. Okay, so this is where we're going to leave him for this week. We have the body basically taken care of. I'm going to address the protrusions, the teeth, the eyes, because there's a couple more things I want to do to the eyes, and then I'll do the washes so you can see how that works out. And yeah, so he's taking shape. So this is what the new approach looks like. This is my little tree frog technique for the beholder, based off of what I did a while back. So you can see it's a similar color scheme concept, but a different approach to the colors and how I use them. I wanted this to look more of the vibrant colors that the reference photo that I have is working with. But yeah, that's the plan for next week. And again, this fellow is going to go to one lucky winner when it comes time to do the giveaway for 10K on the channel. So thank you so much for everyone who jumped in, and thank you to those who gave me the heads up about the latency issues with the original go around. I am glad we were able to fix that, and quickly. That was the biggest concern on my end. So I will see you here next week, same time, same place, different date. Next Wednesday, we'll get him completed and good to go for whoever is going to win this fellow. Take care, everyone. Always fun, and I will talk with you all later. Bye.